And this poem is called 6 Million Paperclips. We were sitting in the very back of the bus, seatbelts off, flying a foot in the air at every speed bump, and only half listening to the two boys across the aisle when one of them asked his friend if he knew why the United States was allied with Israel, and told him it was because there were so many secret Jews in the government. And a year later, I told a girl I was Jewish, and she nodded and said she could always tell what religion people were, and I just seemed Jewish, you know? I asked why. I hadn't brought up Hanukkah or Shabbat, and I hadn't dropped a single oy vey, and she said no. I just dressed like a Jewish girl. I was wearing a sweater. She lunged for my scarf a second later and told me how much she loved it, and I bit my tongue to keep from saying, my Jewish scarf? You love my Jewish scarf? People from Chicago don't ask to see your horns. They don't ask how many Christian babies you've slaughtered, because people from Chicago know what a real Jew is. A real Jew has a nose jutting from his face like a bird's beak. A real Jew has nightmares about the nagging, shrieking voice of his mother. A real Jew stops in the middle of the street to pick up pennies and refuses to pay his share of the bill. A real Jew is a whiny, neurotic, factory-perfect Woody Allen clone. A real Jew is not something to be afraid of. A real Jew is something to laugh at and forget. They teach the Holocaust in 7th grade. They spend a month shouting numbers that were ground into our heads by the time we were 10, 6 million. 6 million died like animals, 6 million were slaughtered by a madman leading a country looking for a scapegoat, 6 million ragged pairs of shoes in a pile, 6 million paperclips piled high in a boxcar so white Christian kids from Tennessee can know what 6 million dead Jews look like. They make movies about strong, brave, noble Americans hacking through hordes of slavering Germans. They show us huddled behind barbed wire fences, reaching out for our American saviors so audiences can wipe away self-congratulatory tears and forget that after they liberated us, they left us. You left us, you passed us around from nation to nation like the present that nobody wanted and said we weren't your responsibility anymore. You don't get to show me movie after movie after movie about my salvation at your hands and expect me to sing your praises when you leave out the last part. The part where you tear down the fences but leave us sitting on ground saturated with ashes. The part where you offer me a handful of pennies because that's what you do with spare change. You give it to the Jew. The part where you are allowed to mock me because your great-great-great-grandfather's brother's cousin's friend was Jewish. The part where you tell me that I look Jewish and the part where you tell me that I don't. I am neurotic and sarcastic, but I am not your punchline. I am not an amalgam of every name Adam Sandler has ever sung. I am not a victim huddled behind a fence in this year's big Oscar winner for you to cry over, and I am not 6 million paperclips.